So I just want to say a big thank you to Morella, and I always um, give honour where honour is due. Always. And so, although I've been around the Global Woman brand for years, I was in the magazine, and so much things has happened since then. And as I said, when we went to Dubai, that I think was that my first or my second time in Dubai, but I loved it. And then ever since I've been going back, and I'm now actually a resident. Do you know I've got my residency now? So I do 6 months here and 6 months out in Dubai. And just to give you a little bit of background about me, and then I want to share something and give you some value. So my background is in human resources. I've been in human resources for over 25 years, dealing with obviously staffing, recruiting, and remuneration for organisations. Then I saw a little gap in the market in terms of there wasn't enough women coming forward, there wasn't enough small businesses working with corporates. And then I realised that let me see if I can do HR independently. And I started my business independently. That was going fine. And then I realised that a lot of us, we sell to each other. So we sell consumer to consumer. But I'm thinking, how do we elevate our economic power? And one of the ways we can do that is if you're a service provider, a trainer, a consultant, a coach, or a facilitator, is to sell your services to corporates. So there was a small niche, and I know there was a company already doing this, but I thought it doesn't matter if somebody else is doing it. I can do it in my style, in my way, with my values. And so I set up a membership helping entrepreneurs, diverse entrepreneurs. So if you're a woman, if you're a small business owner, if you're neurodiverse, if you're disabled, helping them raise their visibility to sell their services into corporates. So let me just see a show of hands. How many of you have a service that you can sell to companies? And they don't need to be massive companies. They could be small companies, but they are organizations that have the money to pay you. Because I find that when I'm always selling to other entrepreneurs and I've got a 10K or 15K program, it can be quite a lot of pressure on other people. So then I thought, why don't I sell what I do to organizations, and then the people who I really want to serve, I can now give it at a rate that they can afford. I don't want anyone remortgaging their house or taking out a loan to get coaching from me or anything like that. So that's what I did. Then I thought, okay, let me build relationships, as Morella said, with some of these companies, because I already had relationships with them. And last year, for the first time ever, I held my very first event. And the event is called the Diverse Business Summit, bringing together diverse business owners and corporates. So women, small business owners, neurodiverse. And in that very first event, now think about it. I do a lot of public speaking. I travel doing speaking, but I've never hosted my own event. So it freaked me out. It freaked me out. But I have to remember those people who'd been doing it for years. I remember saying to Marilla, how do you manage to do these events? Because I was freaking out, but I thought, let me do this. And at my very first event, I charged for it. I think I charged like £250 per person. It's a 1-day event, and I got 150 people in that room. I was shocked. Okay, they didn't all pay. They didn't all pay, but the majority of them paid. It was a summit. It was a summit. And Morella was one of my speakers. And at that summit, I managed to get, as brands in the room, I got Meta, the head of diversity for Meta. I got CBRE, Ernst & Young, Sky, and JC Decor. So these are the brands that I had. And what we had like panel discussions, we had round table debates. And I wanted everyone to leave understanding, what do companies need so that I can adapt my current services to sell to them, and I can make more money, and then I can really serve the people I want to. So I was only thought, let me do it one time and just see how it goes. But it went so well, thank you God, that I'm doing it again. So we're doing it again actually next week in County Hall. And Morella will be speaking again on the panel. And it's so, and when I was just like looking back and I'm just listening to Morella today, It's about that thinking big. And if anything, I'm very risk averse, and I'm one of those thinkers, and I think, oh my god, what if that doesn't happen, what if that doesn't happen, and I do worry a lot about things. But then I remembered what's inside of me. And although there's other companies doing something similar, they do not do it the way that you do it. And because of that, we're doing it again next week, Friday. Yes, this time next week. And I've also, and the same brands that came last year, they're coming again today and next week. And not all of them are even speaking. They're just going to be in the room, which I think is really honourable, because it's a Friday. They work. They're all employees. And but additional to that, we've also got Heinz. They've agreed to come. We've got JP Morgan Chase. We have Tesco's just told me yesterday that they can no longer come. But I always say, when one door closes, another one opens, because then I went back and negotiated. So you may not be there present, but are you open to give mentoring sessions to some of our attendees? So that's what they're doing. So always think of, what other opportunities, how else can you serve people? And so I'm really happy about that. So I want to leave one thing with you. If you want to work more with corporates, I want to leave you with this tip. There are 3 things and 3 parts of your network that you must leverage. Now, what happens? We come to these events, but we do not leverage the network. I think people they don't want to feel like they're using other people, or they feel like, oh, actually, I don't have much value to give them in return. Value looks different to different people. So just because you're speaking to someone who has lots of money doesn't mean you're less valuable. So these are the 3 things that I want you to bear in mind when you want to work with corporates. You need to look for the insiders, the influencers, and the impacted. So insiders, I want you to reach out to 5 people in your network who are employees. And they don't need to be part of the C-suite. They could just work in the organization. And the questions you want to, or the conversations you want to strike with them is, what's going on within the company? What's happening? Just be inquisitive and be curious. The second one are the influencers. So these are people that might sit in the C-suite, that might be managing directors or heads of department. Let them know what services you provide, and could they introduce you to someone? Could they do an email for you? So these are people already in your network, because all of us know other people, and other employees. And the best way to get into corporates to do training. So I get paid speaking engagements, paid training engagements, literally because I leverage my network. And even after my conference, 2 days later, I'm off to Rwanda delivering a 4-day leadership training. And what I'm charging them, I could never charge just other consumers. It wouldn't make any sense. And the third one are the impacted. So if you do well-being, for example, who are the people that need your service? The end users. They are also employees. So you will try and contact insiders, influencers, and the impacted. And what happens? One of them is going to refer you to someone else, and they might refer you to someone else. They may do an introduction for you. And all you need to do is listen to what are the needs of that company, what's the needs of that department. And then all you have to do is let them know what you offer and tweak your offer to meet their requirements. Because there's no use saying, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and you don't know what they want. Every company I've spoken to, they've always said, Michelle, when we want to work with coaches, consultants, service providers and trainers, they are always so interested in what they do. And they never stop to find out, what does the company need? What does the department need? What's on their to-do list? So those are the conversations you need to be having with corporates. And I can guarantee you, they are looking to work with more women. They are looking to work with more small business owners, because many of these organizations, they have CSR criteria, which means corporate social responsibility. Yeah. And then they have ESGs. There's loads of acronyms, but they have money set aside to work with small business owners, and we can definitely challenge some of the bigger companies out there like the Accentures, the McKinseys and Co's. So that's why I just wanted to encourage all of you that as part of your plan to make more money, add in corporates. Add in corporates, and remember, they could be institutions, they could be universities. It doesn't have to be the big Amazons of the world or the big, the Goodmans. Think of organizations that can utilize your skills and add that to your strategy to make more money. So when you get the chance to speak on the mic, you can now charge 5, 10K to speak. Is that fair? So how many of you are going to take the challenge to reach out to at least 3 people in your network? Do you know what? I did the same thing. And do you know that there was a woman who was sitting there, she weren't responding or anything. And she sent me a message on LinkedIn. She said that she reached out to 3 people who are insiders, influencers, and she did 5. She did 5. And 2 of them came back to her. And now she has a 10K contract. She does well-being training with one, and another one she got 12.5K. And she literally just took my advice. She wasn't a consultant, she wasn't a client, and she ran with it. So it's so possible. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. That anything is possible when you put your mind to it and just put it in your strategy to make more money this year.
Michelle, before you finish,
thank you.